I appreciate everyone being here. Good afternoon. Probably a couple minutes late, so it is probably afternoon now. Obviously, we're excited to get things kicked off and going. It's been a long physical training camp, and I could definitely tell last week we're to the point as a football team that we're kind of tired of practicing against each other and want to spend some time preparing for a game and playing someone else. And so there's a new kind of energy and excitement around the building. Obviously, it's game week, so that should help improve our practice efforts. Obviously, I want to say thank you to the fan base. Season tickets being sold out. It's going to be a heck of an environment around here come Saturday, and that definitely has the players excited. Anytime you're a competitor, you're a player, you want to play in front of a packed house in an electric environment. And so thank you to the fans, because I know they always create that here. But we're excited to get things kicked off. We face a very quality opponent, and it's going to be a challenge for us. Coach Selfo and his staff, they've done a tremendous job. Obviously, they're coming off a conference championship winning season. They're co-champs of that conference last year, and I believe that in the head-to-head matchup, they beat the team they shared it with. Extremely dynamic on offense, putting up a lot of points on everyone. Very sound, fundamentally sound, schematically sound on defense. Make you earn everything you get, and so we have our hands full. I shared that message to the players on Saturday at our kind of mock game we did here. We got our hands full this week, and so we have to have a great week of preparation. We got to get ourselves ready to go and play a full 60 minutes, four-quarter football game, because that's what it's going to be. It's a tremendous program. Annually, they're very successful every year, and so we got our hands full. But we're excited to get things going, and with that, I'll open it up to questions.
Season openers, I know, bring a lot of emotion. You've gone through this as a player and as a GA and as a coordinator. It's your first time to go through like game week as a season opener as a head coach. How are things maybe a little bit different for you this go around?
Well, obviously there's more things I'm responsible for managing, right? First time ever having to do one of these press conferences right here, overseeing the practice schedule, making sure we're getting enough reps, but not doing too much where we take a tired team into the football game, right? That's kind of the balancing act. You're always juggling. You want to get as many reps as you can, so that way you feel you can execute at a very high level. But you got to make sure you got a fresh team coming into the game. And like I said, it's been a long physical camp, and so those are things we discuss and weigh on a daily basis. And I guess I probably have to give you second half of that answer next week after going through the week and reviewing it all.
Zach, you're just talking about the accomplishments, for Southeastern Louisiana last season. Does it help with the veteran team to, ensure players aren't going to look ahead and see, the Power 5 games you guys have, after this weekend?
I think the easiest thing to do, obviously we watched quite a bit of film already. We spent last week getting into some scout work and treating it like a game week. So we've been working on them a little bit, but we've watched quite a bit of film, but you don't have to watch much film to know, right, that you're playing a very talented football team. They can spread you out, run a lot of great route concepts, that stress coverage. You got a transfer quarterback coming in who's first team preseason all conference, and the returning quarterback is the second team preseason all conference, right? So obviously you worry about a team anytime you got that type of veteran presence at the quarterback position, because that's who makes an offense go. And so for them to have first and second team preseason all conference at quarterback position, that'll catch your attention real quick.
Obviously, we saw the depth chart come out today. I just want to know, how locked in are you on those starters? How much do you continue to evaluate that, just even throughout the week, even though you do list guys as a starter?
Oh, that'll go all the way through the week, of course, right? I mean, you can't play a guy if he has a horrible week of practice and doesn't know the game plan or doesn't execute and is making assignment errors. And so, I mean, every player knows and understands that. That's part of it. But those guys they certainly have the leg up. That's why they're listed on number one in that position right now. So.
Hey Zach, how's it going? You were talking about how kind of a lot of stuff is new for you, obviously, with this first week, and something else that'll be new is kind of those head coaching in-game adjustments. I was just wondering if you had kind of done any preparation this kind of spring or summer to kind of prepare for those moments, for those in-game adjustments by a head coach, and what's kind of gone into that?
I mean, obviously, being the defense coordinator the last 3 years, you got to make in-game adjustments all the time in terms of the defensive schematics. I guess if you're asking me more about, timeout strategy, managing the clock, yeah, certainly that's been a big part of my off-season study. And now, again, with the way analytics have kind of taken over the game, there's a whole lot of theory and charts on when to use them, how to use them. So it's been interesting off-season reading, yeah.
As a head coach, and I know you've had a very eventful career, even in the short time that you've been around, but who do you maybe lean on? Who were some people maybe as you kind of prepared for this position and for this season that maybe you reached out to for some insight?
Oh, I think a big thing I've said it since I got hired, right, is the reason who the staff is here. Right, again, there's over 100 years of SEC experience on the current staff. There's quite a few former head coaches, Joey Jones, Steve Campbell work in the building. They're not on-field coaches, right? But they've got quite a bit of head coaching experience. They've coached a lot of games, so they're guys I talk to about situations. And, I talk to other people, too, who I've worked with or know that are off at other places now. I won't bother mentioning their names, but I've got a lot of experience right in the building that provides a lot of support to me. If there is a situation or an issue that I want to talk through with a former head coach, I mean, they're right there in the building. I don't really need to call a whole bunch of people around the country. Tony Hughes also been a head coach before, too, so.
Coach, along those lines and piggybacking off maybe what John asked you earlier, just maybe coaching the bowl game last January, not even a year ago, does that help you coming into this season that you do have a game experience and having that opportunity to at least get your feet wet as a head coach?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is one of those things where the result of the game kind of determines what the evaluation is by everyone in the media, right? If you lose, obviously, it didn't give you much experience and valuable teachable moments. And if you win, people kind of blow right past it. So, yeah, I think anytime you have experience doing something, I talk about that with the players, right? If you can play a guy who's got a whole bunch of experience as opposed to playing a first-time starter, yeah, there's value in that, right? It's always nice to have a veteran, experienced team coming back. I imagine it's the same thing with coaching.
Coaches, do you guys talk at all, with players about the preseason projections and use it as motivation with, State being picked to finish last in media poll and things like that?
Certainly not right now. We got to prepare for an opponent. Nothing about spending time worrying about preseason projections. All that does is distract us from the job at hand, and that is, right, preparing for Southeast Louisiana. And we have to control what we can control. Only thing we can control, how we prepare, how we show up and work every day this week and get ready for the game on Saturday. That's the only thing we need to be focused on.
Coach, you obviously brought back a very veteran team, and you can look at the depth chart and see how many years of experience you got. But you also got 4 or 5 true freshmen that are on the depth chart, listed as backups and guys you expect to play a good bit. How much does that say about the recruiting class you had last year with some of those guys able to come in and get some reps away from some veteran guys?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we were excited about that recruiting class when we signed it, right? And so you feel like it's a little bit of validation. You evaluated good. Obviously, you did a good job in recruiting them, actually getting them signed, and then they come and they kind of live up to the hype, and now you feel confident that you could throw them out there as a true freshman and play at this level of football. I think you hope that's a little bit of validation. It's like everything else, right? Until we actually throw them out there and see what they do and in the fire, it's all potential at this point.
Hey, Coach. Obviously, you're going to be looking for a win this week, but what would you say has to happen on the field this weekend for you to say it was a successful first game for you?
Well, I do believe in the kind of keep it simple, stupid method, right? Win is the first part of that. There's no such thing as an ugly win, right? Winning's hard to do, and you put in a lot of work. You put year-round work in for 12 guaranteed opportunities. So winning is obviously the most important thing. There's some issues that have shown up throughout training camp that we have got to get addressed in order for us to give ourselves the best chance to win. right? We got a great ball security on the offside of the ball. You can't beat yourself by giving away possessions. We have got to tackle better on defense, simply get lined up to formations or when shifts and motions happen at times. We feel real good about our ones on both sides of the ball handling some of those issues, but it kind of piggybacks off that last question. When you got a lot of true freshmen, sometimes and you're too deep, changes can affect them, right? They don't handle it as well as an experienced guy does, and so I'd like to see us control the ball on offense, not give it away. You don't want to see fumbles. You don't want to see a whole bunch of penalties. Pre-snap administrative stuff, which typically plagues teams kind of the first week of the season, and then hopefully we run around and tackle on defense.
Kind of going off Paul's question a bit there, what have kind of been your impressions of Seth Davis, the way, he embraced the competition this offseason, knowing that, there's veteran guys in that group, but, as the depth chart showed, he's obviously made an impression on the coaching staff?
Yeah, he done a great job. When he's got his carries, he has a real good feel for knowing where the seam's going to be without necessarily waiting for it to emerge, right? That's kind of, there is an instinct as both a ball carrier and a defender, right, on where is the hole going to emerge. And some guys have a feel for that and naturally kind of hit it a little sooner, and some guys don't. That's what separates guys, right? Same thing on defense as a linebacker. Some guys can kind of feel the way the movement is and fall back off the wash or know where the seam's going to emerge, and they go fill it. And some guys pop their feet and stay at 5 yards forever and then never get downhill and make a tackle. You try to coach that stuff the best you can, but at some point you just got to let them play and then you evaluate. Seth's done a really good job. When he's got his carries, he seemed to always kind of hit the hole, and then he does a good job of never really getting hit square on contact. He's a little smaller stature guy, but he has a good job of manipulating his body, so it's never true. He's never really taken a huge shot so far in camp, which is kind of a skill set as a ball carrier as well, glancing blows.
Zach, obviously you said the depth chart is still fluid throughout the week, but what gave you confidence that the guys in the secondary next to the Cameron, Sean, Hunter, Marcus, and Asias are ready to be those guys to step into those starting roles?
Yeah, we're somewhere right around 20 practices in, right? And you evaluate every single play on film, right? And you grade everything. And simply put, those are the guys right now who are grading out the best, right? I mean, that's it's not some magic formula. You teach, you install the coverages, you go out and you practice, and then you evaluate the practice film and give the data. Hey, these are the guys who are performing the best right now. They get lined up in the right positions. They got their eyes in the right place. They react accordingly based on what their key tells them to, and they put themselves in the best position to make plays and not hurt the defense by giving up an explosive. And we're going to continue to evaluate that all week and figure out who the best five are.
Anything else?
Hail State.